Hello everyone and welcome back to another blog. My name's Mark, I'm the Diabetes Diet Guy and also a diabetes specialist dietitian working in the NHS but also running private practice and hosting the Diabetes Diet Guy blog, which is a bunch of free information for people with diabetes to help them manage their condition. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out and have a look. Now today I'm answering a specific question which was about foods that people can and can't eat. Now as a dietitian we don't like to deal in absolutes, because when you start trying to be 100% on your diet, that's when you start to lose the will to live and actually tend to have the opposite effect, crashing out of the diet in a horrendous way and returning to the status quo of how you were eating before and usually gaining weight with interest from where you started previously. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time today to highlight how just simple dietary manipulation can make a big difference to your intake. So to highlight my point, I've actually chosen one of the probably more conventional unhealthy institutions that we do associate with probably unhealthy eating, which is McDonald's. I know everyone likes it. I for one think it's pretty tasty, but I don't eat it too often, mind. Being a dietitian, that would be faux pas. But nonetheless, here's an example that I'd just like to point out to show you how actually just simple swaps can make a big difference in terms of your calorie and dietary intake. Now don't get me wrong, McDonald's is not the most nutritious institution in the world, so we're not getting as much as we would from fruit and vegetables, slow releasing starchy carbohydrates that are whole grain and wholemeal by nature, and also eating lean sources of protein. But nonetheless, these types of foods are going to slip into the diet, so sometimes it's not necessarily about avoiding them altogether, but actually thinking about the type and crucially the amount that you're having. So let's check it out. So option one, we can go large. So we can have large fries, a Big Mac and a Coca-Cola can. So the large fries come in at 444 calories, the Big Mac 518 calories and the can of Coke is 136 calories. Now in reality McDonald's isn't selling Coke cans, it's selling Coke cups. So they will be much bigger than a Coke can, usually about a pint of Coke. So we could even probably double that in reality. But nonetheless, gives you 1,098 calories for that meal. Now keep in mind most people are probably working off around 2,000 calories per day for weight maintenance. If you want to lose weight, you're probably working off somewhere around 1,600 to 1,800 calories per day, depending on how active you are, so it might be a bit more. Now, option two is we decide to go medium and slightly change it up a little bit. So we have medium fries, which gives us 337 calories. Rather than the Big Mac, we have a cheeseburger, 301 calories, and rather than the full sugar Coke, we go for a Diet Coke. Total intake of 638 calories, which is still quite a lot for a meal, but it's not horrific. Which actually shows us that the difference is 460 calories between the two options. Though they have both still gone to McDonald's, but one has come out a lot better than the other, particularly if they're looking to lose weight. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, I wouldn't recommend going to McDonald's or KFC or Burger King too regularly. But it doesn't have to be a complete collapse every time you go somewhere like this. Now, I don't want to be the fun police because in reality, if you're going to McDonald's, you're probably looking forward to that Big Mac. But if you are determined about losing weight and want to stick to your plan, and you don't have the discipline to be almost 90 to 100% between your visits to McDonald's, then you can still go, have more informed, better options that are lower calorie compared to the higher calorie, go all out options, and still come off relatively unscathed, okay? Like I say, don't do this every day. Make it still once in a while treat, but it doesn't have to be horrific. So hopefully just using McDonald's shows you about how you can make simple substitutions to actually reduce your calorie intake and improve your chances of weight loss. Now if you apply that to the general day-to-day, there's lots of different options that you can do that with. Starting point in terms of identifying those foods is look at the food label, because it'll always give you per 100 grams. And then you can see how products stack up against each other. Per 100 grams, this food has this much, and this option has this much. They might actually be the same meal, but one might be made with more fat, more sugar, one might be made with less, and so you can start to pick out the better options. I have done a video on this previously called Food Swaps to highlight how actually just switching across from one type of food to another can make a huge difference in terms of your calorie intake, and I'll link to that at the end of the video. So hopefully that gives you some ideas about actually how you can regulate your intake. Often it is just really about the portion. So no food's particularly off limits, and as I say, dietitians don't really like dealing in absolutes. We'd rather you just had a little bit of what you liked, but either don't have it too frequently or only have a small amount of what you like. It's when you let the floodgates open and stop caring and become passive with your diet that problems start to emerge. So I'll leave you with that thought, and I'll see you next time.